like you've been somewhat of a turmoil in your life over the last 6 months, a year. What's going on?
Yes. So my story begins like any true love story. I divorced my high school sweetheart, unfortunately. But in that process, I negotiated, we divided our assets as best as we could, 50-50. I was in the middle of building a business. I owned 2 pieces of real estate, one which was our primary residence, one was our rental investment property. The ex got the main house, I got the real estate, the rental investment property, the Airbnb business, which I then sold. And so now I just have a lot of money cash money sitting in my savings account. And I don't know where to invest that. I know that I don't want it just sitting cash in my account. But currently my life circumstances are that I'm unemployed, trying to start my own business, which I want to invest some capital into from that savings. And I want to restart. I want to figure out where I want to live. So I've given myself a budget of about 65 grand a year without income during that time to move about the world, start my business, and hopefully invest in different ways, whether that's real estate again, obviously my own business, and in the stocks. But it's a little bit complicated because I just don't really know where to start. There's a lot of options.
Okay. Let's start with number one. Let's start with this house that you got from your husband. He got one house, you got the other house. Let's talk about if there's any gains or any taxes due on that. So what did you pay for the house?
We paid, a year ago, we paid about $480,000 for the house.
480. So it's you can't use it as a primary residence, getting the exclusion of 250. So it's a total investment property.
Yes.
Okay. Bought it a year ago. How much did you pay?
480.
480. How much did you put into it?
About 100,000.
Okay. 580. What'd you sell for?
550.
Okay. So you've got a loss of 30,000. So that's a benefit. That's a write-off. You make money, you have to pay taxes. You lose money, you at least have was it more than a year? If it's more than a year, it's a long-term capital loss. If it's less than a year, it's a short-term capital loss.
It was 1 month past 1 year.
Okay, so it's a long-term capital loss. But that's okay. You can still carry, that's going to help your taxes going forward. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any taxes on that. What did you realize in this sale? What did you actually monetize with your cash in hand?
I received about $130,000 in cash.
About 130 in cash on that. Okay, and that's sitting currently where?
In a high yield savings account.
High yield savings, what, 3.5%, 4%?
It's about 4%.
4%, and that's totally liquid. 130,000. And how much? What else do you have in your savings account?
I have additional cash savings, so that's where it totals about 200,000 total now.
200,000 cash sitting in a savings account, i.e., tied to a checkbook.
And then I have a separate checking account.
You have separate checking, and that's through like a Charles Schwab or.
It's a Charles Schwab.
Okay, you're in Charles Schwab. And then you've got, you've worked all these years, so you have some IRAs, 401ks, what's
I
going on
have 4 different rollovers from a 403B from an old Stanford retirement fund, which I know has different rules. I have 2 rollover 401ks from different startups that I left in the last 10 years. And then I received Quadro, which was a really complicated division of my ex-husband's retirement account. So I received about $35,000 of value of his
inherited or a spousal IRA.
Yes.
A spousal IRA. Okay, good. Now they're in 4 different accounts?
They're in 4 different accounts.
Okay, and that adds up to about what?
50,000.
About 50,000 total.
Total in all of my 401k rollovers, IRAs. Yes.
Okay, you probably want to consolidate those into one account. There's no reason why you can't do that. Are any of them Roth designated, or are they all traditional IRAs?
I believe traditional IRAs.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about keeping it in 2 separate buckets. You can commingle it into one, and that's easier to do. And then we can talk about where it would make sense to invest that. So let's talk about this. You got 200,000, and you want about 65,000 over the next 12 months to spend. So you want to peel off 65. Let's call it 75. Give you a buffer. Now, don't you want to invest in a business with a friend?
Yes, I want to put $20,000 of my capital into starting a leadership training program
Okay.
with a business partner.
Okay, so that's 65 plus another 20, that's 85. So you want 85 totally liquid sitting in your savings account, A, to live on, and B, to invest in this business over the next 12 months.
Yes.
Gives you
That
about.
sounds right.
Okay, so it
When
gives
you
you
put it
about.
that way.
Yeah, okay. About 115,000 to invest, right, in something that doesn't have to be 100% liquid. It could be into the stock market with a little bit of volatility. Your risk tolerance is out of 1 to 10, what would you say it is?
I think now, like before the divorce, it was like a 9 or 10 because I felt really financially stable. But now that I'm like starting this business and don't have any solid income and I'm trying to figure out my cost of living, I think my tolerance is now like a 6 or 7, just for now.
Okay, it's about 7, but how old are you?
32.
Okay, 32 years. Let's talk about one other thing. What happens if you should get ill or sick? Do you have any type of health plan at all?
I actually don't have health insurance right now.
You don't have any health insurance?
I'm on a traveler's insurance here in Thailand, which is more affordable than paying for private. I got quoted $350 a month for health care once I go back to the States, and I was planning to sign up for
Yeah,
that.
and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so 350 has to be tied to that budget. Is that 65,000 including the 350
Yes.
or not including?
It was including health
So
care.
thinking about that, expenses, living, Coke, smokes, and jokes, 65,000. That's what you're talking about, right? 65,000. Okay, so really, I think you're in a good situation. You've got the cash. You can live. You can build your business. What we want to do at that 115 at a 7 level. I mean, what if I could tell you, we can give you the exposure of the market with almost no downside risk at all. That would be a great strategy for you because then you can get that risk tolerance of 8, 9, or 10, but the downside risk is 0. That would be a good solution.
Is that a long-term strategy? Like how
It's,
long?
it's a 1-year commitment.
1 year.
Yeah, and basically what we're doing is we're investing in 1-year T-bills. We use the interest and we're leveraging the interest of the market security to give you 70, 80, 9% of the upside of the market. Really great strategy right now, and it's really germane today because interest rates are at 15, 16-year high. So we could take the interest from a 1-year treasury, the safest thing in the planet. We can just steal the interest, and we use the interest to leverage the market. So that means if the market crashes, you're left with the T-bill of
Okay.
full value. So you can get your cake and eat it too. It's kind of a no-brainer right now. Best way to, I don't care what the market does over the next 12 months. And after 12 months, you can reevaluate. If your rates are higher, it's better. If they're lower, you can make that evaluation. That would be a good thing to do with that capital, the 115. The other money, the 65 and the 20, I would just keep it in short-term instruments. Right now, the short end of the curve is the best. So if you could go 3, 6, 9-month T-bills, but if you can't, just keep it in a money market at 4% and with a checking, that's fine. Because you're going to be using that capital.
With my high yield savings.
High yield savings, fine. Schwab high yield savings, fine. 4% is great. 2 years ago, you're getting 0.5%, 20 beeps. Now you're getting at least 4% of that money with no risk, no capital at risk. Sounds like you got your health insurance covered. Yeah, it looks like you've got some tax write-offs from the loss of your real estate. As far as your business plan is concerned, is that something, documents you're going to get with your business partner, get down in paper? Are you going to have an attorney do that, or is this something you're going to get legally?
Yes, we'll set it up legally and transfer the funds. And so I don't know, is that a tax write-off when you spend capital on a business that has no
Well, here, the beautiful thing about a business, especially if you go LLC, an LLC is a limited liability company, but you can run it through as an S or a C corp. So depending on where your write-offs come from, but the best tax write-off you could ever put together is start your own business. Because you can write everything off. You can write off gas, you can write off clothing, you can write off transportation, you write off any supplies you buy, anything that has to do with your business. If you go to dinner with somebody that's a potential client, that's a write-off. Okay, so there's
Can I write
no
off
better.
my travel?
Absolutely. If you
Because
can
we'll be
just
traveling around as part of the business.
absolutely. So your taxes should be de minimis. You want an accountant that knows the law. You don't need to cheat on your taxes. It's just the government says if you're going to start a business, we're going to allow you to write off. Your business is going to take a loss, And so you might spend $65,000 on Coke, Smokes, and Jokes, but 30 of thousand might be part of your business, which is a write-off. So even if you do make money, you're not paying any taxes because you're using those losses to cover your gains you make from your business.
Okay, I have a question for you. I want to buy a house again one day. Would real estate be another safe investment?
Real estate's the
Smart.
biggest no-brainer you could do. I personally like short-term because that's what I do personally. Short-term is good in a lot of different ways. There's nothing worse than getting that ugly renter that you can't get rid of, and then they stop paying, and then they trash your home and leave. Short-term rentals with the new technology now, with internet locks, you can just change your lock. People check in at 4, check out at 10. Get a cleaning company behind it. Things like VRBO, which they have to buy renter's insurance, or if they destroy your refrigerator. So I would definitely look at real estate as an opportunity. The only problem with real estate is, you've got about $115,000 to play with, right?
Here's my problem, is I don't currently qualify for a mortgage anymore because I don't have proof of income for this past year or the next year that I'm planning. So the goal is to invest in the stock market, the 115, spend a year building this business and building my revenue, and about probably the second year mark, buy a house and invest in some sort of Airbnb business model where I can live in one portion and rent out the other to help cover my mortgage and my expenses. And so could I potentially take money out of my investment account when I'm ready to buy that house?
Yeah, you could build in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. They're short-term investments.
Okay, so
Good.
don't just let the money sit in savings while I'm waiting to buy
That's
this house.
stupid, especially.
Invest the money.
Yeah. Think about that. If the market's up 20%, 20% of 100 grand is $20,000. You don't want to, if the market's down 20, you want to lose 20. But if it's up 20, you want to make 20. So can I make 20,000 but not lose 20? Yes. You can do that with the way interest rates are right now. You can use the interest to leverage the market and not have any downside risk. So this is about the best time in 16 years to invest. It's the biggest no-brainer. And in a year, find that perfect property. You'll have enough money to put down. But I'm not quite understand. So in other words, a bank is not going to qualify you. Let me ask you a question. Would your folks co-sign, or is that something?
They could, but I want to do this on my own.
Okay, I respect that.
Built my own wealth and financial stability with my ex, and then in the divorce I've kind of become a little financially unstable. So while my parents could co-sign for me, I really don't want to have to ask them, which might, when push comes to shove, I might be able to do so, but they have enough of their own financial situation to.
And I don't know their financial. They
Yeah.
may be sitting on millions.
They're not.
Okay, because if they are,
They're not.
well trained.
And they have 6 kids, and
Okay.
They did build a second home that they're planning to retire to, but now they're carrying the burden of paying for one house is paid off, but they're paying for the expenses on the second home and
Well, co-signing is not asking for money. Co-signing is saying,
share the liability with me.
well, if you default, they've got liability.